Hello everyone, this is Running on Empty Food Review. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're here at Arby's again, land of the roast. And we're trying out some new items from them. Or I guess a new item, singular. What this is they have the new, kind of new steak fajita flatbreads out. And they have the plain old steak. And then they have the fiery, spicy fajita flatbread. So we're trying that out. Apparently it's pretty much the same thing as a steak fajita flatbread with just enough spice to justify it as fiery. Today, after a unsuccessful venture trying to find a Carl's Jr., which we couldn't, we said, well, we're going to have to resort to going to the land of the roasties and settle with this. So we did. Truth be told, the thing smells horrible. Man, I'm just telling you like it is. So here it is. You can just see this thing. I mean, it's a flatbread, of course, wrapped in the flatbread here. And what is in this? It's really packing heat. It's got the flatbread. Got some lettuce in here. And got some tomatoes. You got a good old onion here. You got your steak, of course, the signature part of the dish. Glued together with some cheese. You've got some peppers, or peppers as they're known as more commonly. Some more cheese, and apparently mixed in here is, one can only presume, some sort of sauce. I see some white sauce, which I hope is sauce at least. Some white stuff. And, I imagine there's probably maybe some mayo in here, and probably some sort of hot sauce too. So, I guess I'm just going to start off at this end here. Just going to bite into the beast. And, I'll give it a go from there. So, this is their fiery, fajita flatbread going in. At this time, I am very thankful that I have this paper here, because there's this unknown juice just dripping from this thing right into my lap. So I'm glad that, I kind of got this paper to protect me. Arby's is just revolutionizing the world of flatbreads here. And it appears that not a single thing really wants to separate cleanly when I bite into it. Alright, we're going to take... That's a close save right there. I'm going to take probably 2 more bites and then we'll tell you what it tastes. There's a lot of stuff in this. And then we'll bite here. Perhaps I seem a little harsh, more than usual. I don't know why that is, but it is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of flavors in this. Okay, there really are. A lot of flavors in this flatbread here. And really, I would call this the battle of potency. Because you have some that you can barely taste, and this seems to be a recurring theme in things that have all this just stuff in there. Just a recurring theme. You have things there that you can barely taste at all, and you have things there that are the star of the dish. Here's what we can taste, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll just dissect it ingredient by ingredient. First of all, the flatbread, itself doesn't really taste like all that much. Okay, has almost like a little bit of a, on the outside, a little bit of a grainy texture when you grip it. Otherwise, it just adds almost this tasteless chewiness to it. I guess it kind of texturizes it all up for us and gives us a little convenient little, flatbread to hold the roast on. After that, you have this bed of lettuce and, I'd assume probably mayo or something in there. Again, this is one of the neglected flavors, this lettuce, this bed of lettuce. You can barely taste it. It doesn't even pose any significance. It's just kind of there, I imagine, for decoration, because everything's got to have lettuce, as we all know. Next, the tomatoes. The tomatoes are there, and I do put a good number of them on. And they're not these big, these big juicy slices of tomatoes. They're these small little ones. Small little medallions, I guess you'd call them. Tomato medallions, I guess. And what they really do is, they add, as most tomatoes end up doing, they add moisture to the dish. And they are fresh, and they do have a little bit of flavoring to them. You have the onions here, which are pretty potent, okay? They are. The onions themselves have that, definitely have that strong flavor to them. But really what comes in terms of the most potent thing in this dish is the beef and these peppers. Or the steak, but it does come from beef, you figure. They actually do call it, spicy, the fire flatbread. And truly, it does hold true to its name, because it is spicy. Now, is it spicy requiring, copious amounts of beverage? No, not that. However, it is spicy, and it is noticeable, and that is really what just comes in as the main flavor of this dish. Now, believe it or not, I think there is some sort of little rub and coating of peppers on the beef and steak itself that does contribute to the spiciness. I think that is the main source of spiciness. I know I assume that there's some sort of spicy sauce on it. I don't really think that's the case. I think the spiciness lies in these peppers, which maybe are banana peppers. I can't really name exact species thereof. I think the spiciness really emerges from these peppers here, and mostly of this rub, this coating of spices that's on the steak itself. So that's really what adds the spiciness to this, okay? So that's what you can get. The cheese itself is just useless. It doesn't even, again, like most of the stuff here, it doesn't serve any purpose except to be aesthetically pleasing, because again, you can't have a successful flatbread without some cheese to it. So, that being said, there's a lot of stuff in here, okay? Just a lot of stuff in here, and, the thing is that some flavors are going to be a lot stronger than others, specifically the spiciness, which is good. Alright, it said spicy, and it is spicy. The one thing that you must notice, though, aside from some of the tomatoes and some of the onions, is that most of the other stuff in here is you're not going to be able to taste it. Okay? One other problem which I will say, and I'm going to hold this up for you, I'll do you a favor, is you see this beautiful thing right here, You see how it's just drenched with this mysterious liquid, which I can only hope is sauce. And, it's messy. Now, I'm thankful that I have this napkin here and this, this little coating, I guess, this little wrap here, because otherwise, this would be dripping all over my legs and ruining the pants to this suit. And that is not a good thing. So I have to keep a note that it is messy. Not necessarily while you're eating it, but you're going to have this mystery liquid just dripping out of it, like some sort of seepage, so you just have to take note of that and proceed with caution. Well, price-wise, what is this priced exactly? This was $5.78. Now, given the amount of stuff that you're getting at least, and given the fact that, well, you can't taste some of the stuff, but it said spicy, and it is spicy, it is pretty much worth it. I mean, considering that the rest of the stuff, basically follows a trend on the menu here, and that's that. So, it is worth it. It is priced accordingly. It's not the cheapest thing in the world, but at least you are getting a good serving of the steak here. That is one good thing, at least. Alright, out of 10, what am I going to be rating this? Well, again, price-wise, I guess, for Arby's, it's average. For Arby's, it's averagely priced. And for here, yeah, you can taste the steak. quality of the steak itself, should I mention also, the steak itself is on the, it's on the tender side. I mean, it doesn't really pose too much of a chewiness, which I was worried about, but it doesn't. But the main thing you're going to notice about the steak, again, is not the flavor of the meat itself, but again, just the spicy rub which coats it. And you're going to get the spiciness which fills your mouth, and that's what you're mostly going to notice in this. So, ladies and gentlemen, overall, what am I going to be rating this? I'm going to be giving this a 7.2 out of 10. Just a little bit below average, because again, some flavors in this are just overall neglected, and the real thing is, this messiness here, which isn't aesthetically pleasing, and at the same time, it's messy. While you're eating this, it can just cause a mess. It can, if you're not careful, can ruin clothing, and that's just something to be wary of. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have for you today. That's all we've got. I don't think there's anything I can really say about this. This is Running on Empty Food Review. I'm your host, Report of the Week, and today we tried out Arby's. We were trying out their steak Fajita Flatbreads, and this is their spicy one, the fiery one. Thank you so much for watching, and take care. We will see you later.